when God stepped out, suddenly men and women all over the parish were gripped by the fear of God. God, are my hands clean? Is my heart pure? The moment that happened in the barn, a power was let loose in Barnabas that shook the whole of Louis. God stepped down. The Holy Spirit began to move among the people. And the minister, writing about what happened on the following morning, said this: you met God on meadow and moorland. You met Him in the homes of the people. God seemed to be everywhere. What was that? Revival. Revival. Not an evangelist. Not a special effort. Not anything at all organized on the basis of human endeavor, but an awareness of God that gripped the whole community, so much so that was so. I can remember once, within 24 hours, addressing 8 meetings, crowded churches. There was a dance in progress that night, and while this young man was praying in the aisle, the power of God moved into that dance. And the young people, over 100 of them, fled from the dance as though fleeing from a plague. And they made for the church. I endeavored to get up into the pulpit. I found the way blocked with young people who had been at the dance. When I went into the pulpit, I found a young woman, a graduate of Aberdeen University, who was at the dance. And she's lying on the floor of the pulpit crying, is there mercy for me? Is there mercy for me? Is there mercy for me? God was at work. Well, that meeting continued until 4 o'clock in the morning. Mr. Campbell, there must be anything between 200 and 300 people at the police station. They're gathered there and some are on their knees. Now, I can't understand this. Now, he wasn't in the church, you see. But here, a crowd of men and women from a neighboring village, 5 and 6 miles away, were so moved by God that they found themselves moving to the police station because the constable there was a God-fearing and well-saved man. They were there, and this young man begged of me to go along to the police station. And I went along, and I shall never, never forget what my ears heard and my eyes saw that morning. Young men were kneeling by the roadside, I think just now of a group of half a dozen. One of them under the influence of drink, and his old mother kneeling beside him and saying, "Oh, Willie, Willie, are you coming at last?" Mr. Campbell, something wonderful has happened. Revival has broken out. And Willie today is the parish minister. And from the group of young men who sought the Lord that night. There are 9 in the ministry. To the door and see the crowd and hear 11 o'clock, Matthew, 11 o'clock. And I went to the door, and there must have been a congregation of between 600 and 700 people gathered round the church. And within a matter of minutes, the church was crowded at 11:45. Now, where did the people come from? How did they know that a meeting was in progress in the church? Well, I cannot tell you. But I know this, from village and hamlet, the people came. Were you to ask some of them today, what was it that moved you? They couldn't tell you. Only that they were moved by a power that they could not explain, and the power was such as to give them to understand and see that they were hell-deserving sinners. And of course, the only place they could think of where they might find help was at the church. Now that is a fact that cannot be disputed. God was everywhere. And because of this awareness of God, the churches were crowded. Crowded. Through the day, right on through the night till 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning. In revival, time does not exist. One of the mighty movements in the midst of this great visitation. You know that the drinking house was closed that night. Never been opened since. The men who used to drink there and spend the evenings there are now praying in our prayer meeting. It is because they entered into the fullness. It is because the people of Lewis grasped that truth that we can say today we know practically nothing of backsliding from that greatest movement of years ago. My dear people, did you good folk understand what revival means? Have you a conception of what it means to see God working? The God of miracles, sovereign, supernatural, moving in the midst of men, and hundreds swept into the kingdom. Oh, that we might see it, that we might see